So I'm working on the article of the Birkas Shmueil on what is the mitzvah of Talmud Torah. Not Alpi Musar, not Hisorus, not Hashkafa, but what is the din, the mitzvah of Talmud Torah. So basically, to sum up, I'm in the second column of the article. I'll sum up what we have. He said the mitzvah of Talmud Torah is divided into two parts. There's a mitzvah to teach your children Torah. There's a mitzvah to learn Torah yourself. And the mitzvah to teach your children really also includes the mitzvah to teach students. The same thing. Only, what's the difference between students and your children? It's only the children have a din kadima. You're more obligated to them if there's a conflict first. But din kadima is not mahus of what is the mitzvah to teach them. It's a din kadima. And what's the difference between a person himself and to teach his children to learn Torah himself? It's also not a ton of difference. The obligation to teach your children includes paying money. Obligation to learn yourself doesn't. But the obligation to, and another big difference starting in paragraph Dalet, I'm going to maybe start it today. Very important question. A person learning Torah, children have no burden of how they're going to eat. Their father has to feed them. Besides, he has to pay money to teach them Torah. He also has to feed them. So they don't have a, so to speak, heter of asafte gonecha to go out and get money. They don't need it. But for ourselves, to learn Torah ourselves, so how you going to eat? Ain't kemach, ain't Torah. So he has to explain in one of the main Kiddushin of his article, starting in paragraph Dalet, is what is the relationship between the mitzvah to learn Torah and bittul Torah? How do you put it together? Where is it? How does it work? He has a lot of tremendous Kiddushin there. That's also a difference between a person learning Torah himself, a person teaching Torah to his children. But what about the mahus of the mitzvah? So the mahus of the mitzvah, he starts really from the Gemara Kiddushin Daf Lamed. It says, Shinam televanecha, applies to yourself. Have to also be shinun, that you know what the Torah says, and you also have the also shinam televanecha. What is shinam televanecha? The Birkas Shmueil says. The Rebbe always quoted this and repeated it over and over again. There's nothing less to be a goyen and a gorah b'Torah. Without that, you're not doing shinam televanecha. So, I'm going to add another step to prove that point today. About how does he know that ad kedei kach? Why not just Mishnah Mecharek Targum, learn all the Mishnayos, learn Daf Yomi? What's this business of be a Godel b'Torah and a Goyen b'Torah? Why? So in order to prove it really, he based it on Rabbeinu Chaim HaLevi. Rabbeinu Chaim HaLevi wrote a very fiery article called, it's right on the top of the second column of the article, Darchei Shel Torah. Darchei Shel Torah. In the pamphlet, Darchei Shel Torah, he's fighting against the maskilim, against the Bali methods. I talked about methods yesterday. How come it's like... how come we use the word in the yeshiva methods? And he wrote a whole pamphlet against methods of those Rishoyim and Maskilim. Where does the idea of methods come in? Rav Simcha Zissel Brody Zatzal asked me that kasha on the Ramchal. He said that there's a sefer written by the Ramchal called Sefer HaGaon. Now in the Gemara in Brachos it says, don't teach your children HaGaon. So it's like the Ramchal named his book HaGaon. It's saying, don't open this book. So why should you give a book a name that says, don't open the book? So he answered, of course, in his letter about Sefer Gaon, that there's HaGaon of the Torah, that's what the Ramchal has wrote a book about. And that, so you must know. How do you think you can learn Torah without thinking, without knowing how the logic of the Chazal works? So I say the same thing about the methods, and the Rebbe wasn't afraid, Adarabba. He always said constantly, our yeshiva is a yeshiva of methods. What did he mean? And why did he pick that word when Rabbi Chaim wrote an article against methods? Very simple, because the Torah has a method. And without having this conscious method of how to go about learning the Torah, you'll be lost. And what were they talking about? Lahavdil Elef Avdalo, those Rishoyim, the Bali methods that Rabbi Chaim talks about. They were talking about where I use modern psychology and modern pedagogy and modern thinking, and I think of ways how to take modern ideas and shove it into the Torah and then we'll learn Torah. So Rabbi Chaim said, forget about that. You don't shove into the Torah. And that's how the Rebbe always explained also. You don't shove it into the Torah. No, it comes from the Torah. So now, I want to explain what really the content of Rabbeinu Chaim's statement, the Birkas Shmueil quotes. I'll read inside. The bottom line of the first column, and then at the top, Rabbeinu Chaim Halevi said, "Hey, hine, yununa b'divrei Mori v'Rabbi HaGaon Amiti Achosid Rosh Bahag Rabbeinu Chaim Halevi Zecher Tzadek v'Kodesh l'Roch L'Haim U'Lam Haba in his Maimar Darko Shel Torah against the Rishoyim and the Bali methods. Yimtzu Sham. What did Rabbeinu Chaim say there? His words of fire. He said, following statement, a little shocking, gotta explain it. Kol ish mi Yisrael, asher hu mikametz b'limud Torah b'no. He holds back, a little stingy toward his children, and he doesn't teach them tons of Torah day and night and teach them everything. Shinanta levanecha, to be gaonei Torah and gedolei Torah. He holds back. So what happens? So Rabbeinu Chaim said, well, why is he holding back? Not exactly stingy. Mistapik atzmo bazeh, shemalamed oto, lefi bidui daito. He has things made up in his head about what's really the proper way to teach my child. And that's how he teaches him. He says, the end is he's going to remove his children or grandchildren or future generations from having anything to do with Torah. In the end, maybe not his grandson, maybe a generation after that, they'll become Reformed Jews. They won't believe in Hashem anymore. That's what'll happen. Why? Just because he didn't go all out to make them Gedolei Torah. So how is that? All or nothing? You mean if you don't push to the end in what you teach your children, and it applies to ourselves too, what we teach ourselves. When we learn Torah ourselves, it's the same obligation, like I said before. That's the result. That's what happened. So he says the reason why. I'll tell you why. Ki al yedei shebeno mizgadel Torasenu HaKadosh v'naseh chocham b'Torah yoda eich lizoyer ba'azharos u'bedikdukim u'moser atzmo avura v'roeh shegam beno yeh lo chocham b'Torasenu HaKadosh v'yidei zeh mash v'shav l'dorosav HaTorah ad olam. Let me explain what he's talking about. There's Mesivta Shiurim says that why are we in the world? Two things that it's surprising he puts them together. He says to serve Hashem and do his mitzvahs, and to be omed in Nisayon. So in other words, to just learn Torah and know about the mitzvahs is very nice, but what'll happen when the dials turn and there's all kinds of new things in the world, and things that a person has to really be on his toes and understand what is the deeper application of Torah to how he lives his life in order to pull through. So that's the difference. What?
So to serve Hashem and do mitzvahs, and the second part
is to pass through the tests of life. Not easy to pass through the tests of life, you know. This happens, that happens, and all the time you're supposed to keep on davening and doing mitzvahs and learning Torah and take all that stuff. So how do you do it? So a person has to have, there's really no way out but Torah. That's really what Rabbeinu Chaim is saying. Why is the result of not teaching his son enough Torah? He's satisfied with basics. He said, whatever I see, I'll teach him the main things. I got to send him to the university. He's got to get a degree, make a living, and so forth. So I'll teach him Torah. But when it comes to the push and shove of standing up to life and staying steadfast with the Torah, there's nothing else that'll hold a person in Torah other than the ability to weather the push and shove of all these things that happen. That comes from learning. That comes from becoming a Talmud Chacham and a Gadol b'Torah. That a person has the means to stand up to what life sends him. Without that, how are you going to do it? It's almost inevitable that it won't work. And he says even more than that. I'm going to explain. He adds that about a person who does teach his children Torah properly. He says it's as if he got the Torah from Har Sinai. Why do I make that comparison, Rabbeinu Chaim? Because you think that the generation that got the Torah in Har Sinai, it was for themselves alone? No, it was the Jewish people for all generations, down to us and past us, future generations. When he got the Torah in Har Sinai, Hashem gave the Torah to all the generations of Jewish people. So how come it didn't disappear when they died? Because Moshe Rabbeinu had a Yeshua. And how come it didn't disappear after that? With all those, with all the Golas and all the problems, all the generations of all the Jewish people, Torah didn't disappear. The Rambam says that's one of our Ikrei Emunas. The Torah is forever. It doesn't disappear. So we're not forever, but the Torah is forever. So how's that work? Only through teaching the future generations, starting with ourselves, our children, grandchildren, students, teaching them Torah with that goal of to be Gedolei Torah and Gaonei Torah. That's what makes the Torah guaranteed to continue, because that's the only thing that makes it possible to stand up against the tests of time and life. That's the only way it's done. So that is the reason, based on that Rabbeinu Chaim, that's the reason why the Birkas Shmueil said, don't set your sights lower than that. That has to be behechrach what the Gemara means, shinan v'levanecha. It can't be anything other than that. Because nothing else than that will mean that the person himself will be successful, to not become a reformer, and his future generations will be successful, that the Torah continues.
So it gives the right perception, perspective of what life is.
It puts a tremendous obligation on us to learn Torah.
No, but
and the learning is what puts the right perspective. Okay, I'm going to explain that more too. I agree with you. There's two more points. One at the end of the paragraph, he says here that he has a kasha on himself. Rabbeinu Chaim says this, that maybe you'll ask me a kasha, that I see, if I look around, a lot of simple, sweet Jews that are Shomer Torah and mitzvahs with tremendous dedication to Yirat Shamayim, and they're not Gonei Torah. They're incredible people, and not only that, their children continue in that way, and they're beautiful, and they learn Torah and they do mitzvahs. So why can't I bring a raya from that you don't have to be so extreme? Why don't you say that if a person is pure in his avodas Hashem, then it'll continue for future generations? Why is he so extreme to say, and fiery to say, you know what'll happen if you don't make your children Talmidei Chachamim and Gonei Torah? You know what'll happen? They'll become Reformed Jews. They'll quit believing in Hashem. So extreme? I see the opposite. So Rabbeinu Chaim answers a beautiful answer. He says, those people, I read inside, about 4 lines from the end of the paragraph. Ve'eshiv al zeh, da'davar hu, I'll explain it. Dehu heichin es atzmo lios godel b'Torah. That person that you see, the end result, he's such an incredible, sweet Jew. Well, if you do your research, you'd find out that he prepared himself to be a Godel b'Torah. When he was going to Cheder, when he was younger and he was learning, that was his thoughts. Nothing less. Nothing less. Ubnei shalomad ba'cheder b'tamimos, and he learned purely, and that was his goal. But his kisharon, or his limitations of what he had to do, he didn't get there. He didn't get there. But because he didn't get there, therefore he gets knocked out? No. His goal was correct, and the end result will be successful. But the problem is, if a person doesn't have that goal, then oy vavoy, then it's like not really continuing the Torah for the generations to come, for ourselves. A person has to have that goal. And when you see a person who's simple and his emunah is pure, rest assured that he started out that way. He had that goal. He didn't get there. Just because he didn't get there means he's not going to be successful in his life. Of course, it's setting your sights correctly and not selling the Torah short. That's what produces the result. Yeah.
What you see is that, as Zikron says in the book, and you used to always say that you can see by the result, you can see the intention at the beginning.
That's right. It's written in the Ramchal in Sefer HaGaon. The result shows you the purpose at the beginning. So that's what he says about these people. And therefore they remain to be tzaddikim and maminim, and it all comes from what was their goal at the start. So don't think that you look around and see that, so you say, okay, I don't have to work so hard. Why should I set my goals to be nothing but Torah, and Torah to set my sights on such a goal, to be Gonei Torah and to know the Torah. It still is true that to really handle the ins and outs of life, a person must have that Torah. But what happens if he set his goal and he didn't get there? I'm not going to knock him out, because the goal will keep him straight. He explains more. The next paragraph will explain even more about this point. He says, V'inei me'oimek darav HaKadoshim mavur. I'm going to explain more deeply Rabbeinu Chaim Halevi. Zia. Loko osan anashim שמחשבים בליבם עצos tarbulos. They think of all kinds of creative ways. What's their goal? But Tainasam, and they have a claim. The kol kavanasam einu ela sheyeh ben yireh v'chored. I want my son to be a religious Jew. One of the kids out here. You can take it out to them. You don't have to keep the baby here. That's my goal. I want my kids to stay religious. You see all these kids going off the Torah. You see all kinds of things happening in our world today. So you think, well, my goal is that my kids should be religious. So Rabbeinu Chaim says like this: it's the wrong goal. If you set that to be your goal, so then you won't get that goal. You have to. It's little needs explanation how he says it, but that can't be the goal. The goal has to be Torah. Acharak Torah. Don't say, well, Torah plus being a Haredi Jew and a Yirat Shamayim. No, not Torah plus. Acharak Torah. What? You can be a maskil, Khalila. You can be a person who learns Torah and not a Yirat Shamayim, Khalila. No, of course not. But the question is, then why does the goal have to be nothing but Torah to be a Godel b'Torah? So he says that here's the problem with that thinking. Al zeh omer mori v'Rabbi Zia she'ein achiyuv Torah de ben rak makshirim lozeh sheyeh yireh. The mitzvah of teaching your son Torah is not a heksher mitzvah to make sure that he stays religious. That's not what it is. That's not your problem. It's not your problem. It's not your obligation, not to yourself and not to your children. Is to learn Torah for the purpose of that they'll stay religious or be religious. That's not the problem. Elo, rather say the opposite. Hachiyuv hu Talmud Torah shemechuyev lirosh yebeno b'nei beso gaone chochmei Torah. And because of that, al zeh gufa ledabek beno b'letorah mayo ilu eitzos takbulos. All his efforts to make sure that his son has the right friends and does the right things and acts properly and grows up in a religious environment and all that stuff. So without Torah, it's not going to happen. Sof yifrosh haben miator. He'll leave, go off the derech, guaranteed. Maybe not him, maybe a generation later. Sof yeh meisir edorosav, and therefore he'll take away his future generations from Torah and from Emunah and Hashem Yisborach, and he'll become a mumar, an unbeliever. Ad kedei kach. So I want to explain this paragraph of Rabbeinu Chaim. There's two. The Pirkei Avos says that two of the biggest excuses there are to not be dedicated to Achbarak Torah. In Avos, based on Avos, it says in Avos, Im ein kemach, ein Torah. Im ein Torah, ein kemach. But you can have Torah without kemach? No, it says ein kemach, ein Torah. So ein yira, ein chokhmah, ein chokhmah, ein yira. Can you learn and become a chacham and a talmid chacham and a gadol b'Torah without yira? No, of course not. So you have to have yira. So now, what's the problem with using that tachbula teaching my children to be Yirei Shamayim and Charedim, I don't need that. Imein Yirein Chochma. Imein Kemach Ein Torah. I need it. Of course I need those things. So then, what is the solution, I believe, and this is really, I think, the remez of why the Mishnah says both directions. Because the relationship between Kemach and Torah, Torah and Kemach, between Yira and Chochma and Yira, it's impossible if it goes both directions as it's cause and effect. Not cause and effect. That's why Rabbeinu Chaim said that Torah is not a means to and a cause for how to produce Yira. And can't say the opposite either. And certainly not Kemach will produce Torah. I'll work and I'll have a little menuchas hanefesh and I'll learn Torah. But the relationship is not cause and effect altogether, not in either direction. It's two things which are mukhrach. So that's why Rabbeinu Chaim says that when there's two things that are mukhrach, it means that one won't be without the other. But not that one is the cause of the other. It's not the cause, so then you don't have any more basis for that tachbula to say, really what I want for my children is to be religious. And what do I want? I want them to be shomer Torah and mitzvahs. So, no. The goal has to be Torah. And there's no such thing as a person who's learned in Torah and becomes a goyin in Torah, knowledgeable, and he has the ability from his learning to handle the tests of life, then he'll be successful. Then nothing can throw him off the track. And he'll be a Yirat Shamayim. Not a possibility otherwise. So it's the two things are mukhrach and connected to each other, but not cause and effect. Not one causes the other. He's getting the same thing in paragraph Dalet. We're going to start after we finish with the Talmud Torah of the Ben, which really also includes ourselves. But we have to talk about the issues of Parnasa, which are very difficult to understand. How to fit that in with this goal when we get to the next part. And I think I'm going to actually skip Gimel and read Dalet to start over there.
What is the two excuses you said?
Money! I need money. I can't learn. I gotta have money. How can I learn without money? Ein Kemach Ein Torah. No flour, no learning, right? And Yira. You need Yira to learn Torah. So if you gotta have, the goal of Torah is to get Yira. So the way to sell ourselves short in learning is to say, well, the real goal is to be a Yirat Shamayim, So therefore, why can't I just make that my primary effort to make sure that myself and my children are Yirei Shamayim, and so I'll watch out what we do and watch out the proper environment and all these type of things, but it will not protect you from the tests of life. Therefore, it's almost inevitable it doesn't work. So in the end, it comes out that that's just an excuse to sell ourselves short in terms of becoming Gedolei Torah. That has to be the goal. And that goal is not possible to have a person who's a Gadol b'Torah and not totally dedicated in figuring out every way how to do Avodas Hashem properly. What did he learn it for? Not for that. But not the goal of, exactly what Rabbeinu Chaim said. The mistake that people make is that Torah is a machshir. It's a preparation for a life of Yirat Shamayim. It's not true. It's not a preparation for. It is it. It is it. That's what it is. And there's no way out that a person can handle life without becoming a Gadol B'Torah. It's an obligation on ourselves, on every Jewish person. So that is the Birkas Shmueil source from Rabbeinu Chaim to say Ach Varach Torah. So now I want to leave off the Chakira and Gimel more about teaching your children and paying tuition for your children. I want to learn paragraph Dalet. So I'll start over here. The Birkas Shmueil writes, Os Dalet, Ato nedaber binyan chiyuv Talmud Torah the mechuyev kol ish Yisrael lilmod ba'atzmo. Nedaber b'ktzora da'afilu b'makom demuter lafsik kagon lasos umnuso or mitzvah she'efshar de'acher. It can't be done by somebody else. As muter lafsik min haTorah. So he wants to explain two things. This is very critical step now. If we understand that our goal is Ach Varach Torah, what about the means to the goal? Well, join a yeshiva, get a good tube of glue, and glue yourself down on the seat, and start learning Torah, right? So, but in reality, the means to the goal, if I put it that way, the goal is to become a Gadol B'Torah, but the means to the goal. So he says there's two parts really I have to understand. Is the what is the mitzvah of learning Torah itself, and what is the patur to stop and do anything to take care of your profession, to take care of your needs, even to stop and eat lunch. Who gave you a heter to stop to eat lunch? How do you know you can stop and eat lunch? Okay, you got to learn Torah.
I give you strength to learn Torah.
Okay, give you strength to learn Torah. But what? How do you? And it's yefshar de'acher. Nobody can eat lunch for you. But how do you know? Even when it's yefshar de'acher, or it's something you have to do, or you have to take care of your profession. How do you know when to stop, when to go, when to learn, when to stop? Where do you draw the line? If you let the forces of not learning push too far, there's going to be no time left in the day. Of sitting and glued to the chair go too far, you won't have what to eat. So, which way? How do you get the balance? So he's going to explain in this section. I'm in Oz Dalet, right? Oz Dalet. So now he says like this. He says, Ein habiur du'umnes Darchei isur bittul Torah. I have to explain what is the concept bittul Torah means. It's very simple. Learning Torah is a mitzvah saseh, a positive commandment. Bittul of any mitzvah saseh. What happens if a person runs out the door and they don't have their tzitzis on? It's a mitzvah saseh. So not having their tzitzis is a bittul mitzvah saseh. So maybe it's nighttime, maybe I don't have a beged, so I'm not exactly chayiv. But simply bittul, the word bittul Torah, the word bittul goes with a mitzvah saseh. Means that you have an obligation for a mitzvah saseh, and you're not doing it. So you're mavatal a mitzvah saseh. So now, what is the perush? So he starts on the negative. Ein habiur d'omnes Darchei isur bittul Torah. Don't say that I have a profession and I learn Torah. I'm koveya itim l'Torah, as the world says, and I have times when I learn, and then it's time to show up at work, and the fact that I have to pursue my profession So that is doiche, that pushes away the isur aseh of Bidul Torah, and therefore I don't have any wrongdoing on my hands of Bidul Torah, because the pursuing my profession is doiche, and therefore everything is beautiful. I learn Torah when I learn Torah, and when I'm busy doing my work, so it pushes away the negative of Bidul Torah. So he says, but all this is not true. So let me get to what's the alternative, is how he would like to explain it. So don't explain it that way. It's not doiche l'isur Bidul Torah, elo. Al yedei dosa mitzvah o davar acher shu gam kein mitzvah. In other words, a mitzvah outright, osik b'mitzvah poter min ha-mitzvah. Another thing which is also a mitzvah, he has to do it. Mitzvah in a different sense. I'm not limiting myself to things that are in the geder of osik b'mitzvah. What about, in general, things you have to do? So he says, Az ein ze bittul Torah. He didn't say it's doiche bittul Torah. He said it's just not bittul Torah. When you're doing those things you have to do, it's not bittul Torah. You don't have to worry about it, that, well, maybe it's bittul Torah, so how can I do those things? Say, it's doiche bittul Torah. Say, no, not true. It's not shaykh to say about those things you have to do, bittul Torah. So I don't need to be doiche. It sounds like the first parish is a little bit more stricter, because you'd say, well, you've got this fear of Bidul Torah breathing down your neck, and everything you want to do, you have to ask, well, can I really do this? Maybe it's Bidul Torah. No, it's doiche the Bidul Torah. But if it's not doiche, then the Bidul Torah is there breathing down my neck. So he says, but don't say that. Say, when you do these things, there just simply is no Bidul Torah. It sounds like it. You just go do it. What's the problem? So it's much more easygoing. Not so much like you got it hanging over you. The Bidul Torah is always there unless you can somehow hold it back. No. You do these things. It's not Bidul Torah. Elo. Al yedei de'oseh mitzvah o davar acher shu gam kein mitzvah. Az ein ze Bidul Torah. V'yotzei al yedei the Talmud Torah ein lo shir. And this comes from the fact that Talmud Torah has no measurement, not above and not below. Talmud Torah is an interesting mitzvah, and it does not have a minimum shear of a kazayas, that if you don't eat a kazayas, you can't bench. It doesn't have a minimum shear. Anything at all qualifies.
For Birkat Torah.
What?
So you have to say Birkat Torah for even a couple of words.
Couple of words. That's right. And even more than you can say a bracha on it, you can be yotzi yer chiyuv of Talmud Torah. This is what he says. It doesn't have a shear below.
Meaning minimum and maximum.
It does not have a minimum. The tevo achas, shachris tevo achas, arvis. It says igi sabo yomam balayla. So day, one word.
Teva's word?
A teva, one word. One word of Torah during the day, one word of Torah during the night. Gam kema b'kiyum chefza shel Torah. It's a kiyum of the mitzvah. V'chein mavur ba'agroa. Zchus yogin al omein. V'reish mesechet peyo. In the Shnos Eliyahu. There's a parish of the Gra on the Mishnah of Peah. We say the Mishnah every morning along with Birkas Torah, that Elud Varm She'enem Shiur. So one of the things that has no shiur is Talmud Torah. So the Gra explains that means that yotzi, the mitzvah. You have what you've done is a mitzvah of Talmud Torah, one word. So now let's go back to the question of things you need to do and bittul Torah. So he says, why if the amount of Torah was some amount of hours of the day, and then the problem is that it takes you more than the remaining hours to do the work you have to do, and therefore you're going to cut into the requirement of learning, then I'll say, bittul Torah. I say, no, because I am doing what I have to do. That's Darchei, the bittul Torah. But when he says, not like that, it's not a Darchei. It's not a Darchei. There is no bittul Torah there, because the reason why there's no bittul Torah, according to the Gra, is that since the Torah has no minimum, goes even one word is yotzei, the mitzvah of Talmud Torah. It's a chepsa shel limud Torah that does the mitzvah of learning Torah. So now it comes out that if the rest of the day you're doing other things, you're not over bittul Torah.
Very hard to be over bittul Torah.
It's very hard to be over bittul Torah then. Mm-hmm. So this needs explanation, of course, and he's going to explain it. I'm what? Yeah, you think, but we didn't hear the explanation yet. I think maybe we should read the Gra, because every word you can medayek tremendously what the Gra writes in Peah, and so I printed it. And I also have it in the Birkas Shmueil. The Birkas Shmueil quotes it, a whole paragraph. He quotes word for word the Gra. So if you have a book, look in Os Hey.
Did you start from here?
I started at the beginning, and I got up to here yesterday, and then I did Rebbe Chaim today. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I pulled you. Oh, I didn't know. Okay. So I did the beginning of Acharat Torah, and I did the Gra. I did the Rebbe Chaim here this morning, and then the Gimel about Talmud Torah the Bonim I didn't go through. I'm skipping to this part now. What I'd like to do is read the Gra. Read the Gra. If you have the sheets I printed the Gra. If you have a book, it's in the Os Hey. I'm going to read it in the book. I don't need to read it in the sheets of paper. Os Hey. Zeh lashon hashnos aliyah. Reish Masechet Peah. He quotes it word for word. The whole paragraph is a quote from the Gra. Now let's see what he says. The Gra writes, Talmud Torah nami ein lo shir, lo lamato, lo lamalo. The kosib yigisa bo yom v'alaylo. In other words, there's a maximum of learning around the clock, and tomorrow again around the clock, and tomorrow again around the clock. Learning day and night. That's called maximum. Some people are able to do that. Not everybody's able to do that. Some people are able to do that. That's the maximum. Not. It's a mitzvah that doesn't have a shiur. In other words, it accommodates how different people are going to fulfill this mitzvah. So there's a maximum of day and night. There's also a minimum.
Is that why they put that in the prayer book right there, right after the blessing?
Yes. V'im kain ein lo shir lamal. Since the pasuk says day and night, so you see clearly there's no maximum amount. Full time. No maximum. There's no. You got up to the top limit, and after that you don't have a chiyuv. A maximum shiur is top limit. No, there's no top limit. It goes on and on. And what about below? Im kain ein ze shiur lamala.
Limud.
And also below there's no shear. V'lifamim. Now why is it that below there's no shear? Not because it says Yom V'Laylo, but for a different reason. Lifamim, b'tevo achas poter. He can exempt himself with one word. V'amrin b'Gemara. And there's a Gemara says this. Korah kriyat shma arvis v'shachris kilu kiyem igisabo yamam v'laylo. If a person says Shema Yisrael in the morning, then he has to run off and be busy all day long, and he gets back in the night, he says Shema Yisrael in the night, he's mekayem, the same pasuk that was the shear, no shear above. He's mekayem the same pasuk, igisabo yamam v'laylo. Lo bol afuke she'enu yotzi b'tevo achas. We never said that Yom V'Layla was to exclude that one word fulfills the mitzvah. And say he's not yotzi with one word, it needs Yom V'Layla. Elo, kriyat shma hu chiyuv, al kol echad, likro, shachus rarbis, v'al zeh omru, shim kora kriyat shma. Do you need to say so many words of Kriyat Shema? No. We just said, the Gemara only said Kriyat Shema because a person anyway has to say Kriyat Shema morning and night. So he doesn't have to add an extra word besides Kriyat Shema. But what happens if he didn't say Kriyat Shema to be Yossi as Chiyuv? With one word he could be Yossi as Chiyuv. In fact, it's not so practical to say with one word you're Yossi or Chiyuv, because in fact you're going to say more words than that, because you're going to say Shema anyway. And you have a Chiyuv to say Shema, and you'll be Yossi or Chiyuv of Talmud Torah when you say Shema. So, but the Gemara didn't say Kriyat Shema morning and night in order to say one word is not enough. Didn't say that. There's no maximum, there's no minimum. One word is even a mitzvah.
Does Kavana come into
There
this
is a
and
minimum.
point your time in the
Rabbi,
Birkas
there
Shmueil?
is a
Well, that's a general problem, and it's Taryag
That's the whole
mitzvahs.
thing.
And the question is if mitzvahs need kavana. Okay, that's not my
all
problem.
different. No,
What?
you said there is a minimum, at least one word.
Well, that's not called a minimum.
It's not
But
going to
it-
get you. You're not going to say that because it's not going to happen.
No, that won't happen because I'm not talking about a shear. Doesn't less than that is not a thing that I can measure up and say is it enough or not enough. One word is a mitzvah of learning Torah day and night, and that's not called a shear. That's not called less than a word is not enough. Less than a word is not speech. It's
nothing.
Nothing there.
So it's really there's no minimum. You're saying.
Except one
There's
word.
no minimum. That's exactly what the Gruah said. There's no maximum. There's no minimum. Now, ועל זה אומרו,
There's nothing.
אם קורא קריאת שמע. ואז, אפילו תיבו אחז, אין צורך ללמוד ויוצא בקריאת שמע. If he learned one word, he wouldn't have to be yotzi with kriyat shema. He would be yotzi with that one word. Do kosu igisabo yomam v'laylo, which means one single word. V'kiven de yotze b'tevo achad. Hainu de ilu lo have kosiv igiso havaminam dein tzorach elo tevo achad. If I didn't say higiso, that you have Yom V'Laylo, I would say that's it. One word. There's not a shear below yoter, and I don't need more. V'af sheyesh lo penai lilmod. And even if he was able to learn more, we say, well, I could do it just because I want to, but it wouldn't necessarily be a mitzvah. I did my mitzvah already. One word, I did the mitzvah. So the Higisa tells me that on the one hand you're right, there is a no minimum, and one word is the mitzvah. But what happens if a person is able to learn more than that one word? Here comes the push and shove. What happens then? Is he obligated to learn more than one word? When I said there's no minimum, I didn't say that that's it, that one word does the mitzvah. No. If he has Panai, if he has the time to learn more, then Yom V'Layla, then the shiur starts to go up with the. It rises to the amount of time that he has. This is the real definition of Bittul Torah now. Lomar shechayev adam lilmod Torah yomam v'layla, ach im tzorach lasok b'mitzvah o derech eretz shu gam kein mitzvah, azai hu patur poter et atzmo b'tevo achas. The formula is like this, that whatever a person has to do, it comes out that when he's doing those things, there's no Bittul Torah. But the problem comes when he's not doing those things. When it's time to relax. I gotta relax. I need to unwind. So when you have to relax and unwind, and what are you? If you the Rebbe always used the example that Zatzal, that I need that chocolate bar in order to give myself koach and pep and energy and enjoyment in order to learn more. So I'm not saying this not proper to relax or enjoy yourself. It's also one of those derech eretz things that a person does because they have to do those things. It's needed. But is there such a thing as being bored? No. Such a thing as having time on your hands? No. Because whatever time was needed to do what you have to do, take it. Do the things you have to do. But the problem of Bittul Torah, the test, arises when you finish those things. And now what? What now, brown cow? Now what are you going to do with yourself? Where's your head? Where's your head? You're thinking about Torah? So as soon as you have a little time, I'll run back and learn some Torah. So that means that the problem of Bittul Torah doesn't come from the things that you have to do. It comes from the rest of the time left in the day when you don't have those things to do. We make a bracha in the morning, because an Eved, his time belongs to his owner. So he doesn't have any panai. There's no such thing as panai by an Eved, because even if he's not slaving in the field, but he's an Eved, means he's on call. So he has no panai whatsoever. So he's like a woman. He has no mitzvah of Talmud Torah either. But we're not like that. We have, nobody is putting the clamps on you, breathing down your neck, that you're busy doing what you have to do. And I say, listen, you really need to do that? Maybe it's not Darchei, the Isur of Bittul Torah. And so who says you should be doing that? That's not my problem. My problem is the opposite side of the coin. Not when you're doing what you're doing, do you have a heter that it's Darchei Bittul Torah? No, the other way around. When you're not doing those things, that's when you have Bittul Torah. So the question is, and this the Rebbe always told us, Zatzal, that a person, it's learning Torah, is it qualitative or quantitative? how much or how. It's really a quality, because no matter if the amount is less or more, but the person's head has to be in learning. And then, of course, every spare moment, you're thinking about your learning. What about the time it takes you from whenever you stop doing what you're doing until you get back to open up your seforim and start to learn? So, Bidul Torah. You should have been thinking about your Ian Sugya all the way as you were walking back to go and sit down and start to learn again. Should have been thinking about what you're learning. Where's your head? Where's your head? What are you thinking about? What's on your mind? And one of the, I always say learning Iyun has a lot of importance, a lot of advantages, a lot of wonderful things about it. And besides the fact that the Rebbe Zatzal used to teach us that there's no other place in learning where you can really gain the benefit that the learning will straighten out your midos. Torah straightens you out, but that really happens from learning Iyun. So that was another little side advantages of learning Iyun, is that when a person is learning Iyun, so they have a sugya to think about, and when they're thinking and learning, their whole being becomes alive. They're thinking and learning, and it's really, that's the only way out that you won't have Bidul Torah, because you have a spare moment. What else are you going to think about? Where's your head? So therefore, you will not have Bidul Torah. But if your learning is, I finished the Daf Yomi already at 8 in the morning, I went to work, I came home, I got to relax and sit on the couch. Well, you don't have to learn the Daf Yomi, you already learned it already, and anyway, I'm tired. Bidul Torah. Where's your head? Where's your head? So the Bidul Torah comes not from the things you have to do, it comes from the machala, from that called spare time. Spare time is the worst thing in the world. And Bidul Torah comes over there. It has nothing to do with what you have to do. People think that Bidul Torah has to do with what I have to do, and they're trying to cramp me down and get me to work less, and I got to fit it in somehow, because if I do too many things of other thing I need to get it done. But they tell me all the Bidul Torah, you can't do that. No, not true. Bidul Torah comes from the other side of the coin, where you finish doing what you have to do. And now what? Now where are you? That's basically the Chiddush of the Gra. And therefore, we don't say, this the Birkas Shmueil wrote in those 2 lines, don't say that the things you must do are Darchei Bidul Torah. Say the opposite, that the things you have to do is not Shayat Bidul Torah. Bidul Torah is on the other side of the coin, where you finish doing the things you have to do. That's where there's Bidul Torah. Achim tzorech lasok b'mitzvah o b'derech eretz shu gam kein mitzvah, azai hu poter et atzmo b'teva achas. So even if he removed his obligations with one single word.
You're still in that paragraph?
I'm right here. The last word in the word is nokat, at the end of the line.
Yeah.
V'nokat atana hoda ein Talmud Torah shiur lamato lahoros. The Tana said those words in the Masechet Peah, has no shir. Lahoros shetzorech ha'adam me'od u'me'od lechavev es haTorah shebekol teva v'teva shelomad bo hu mitzvah bifnei atzmo. I didn't tell you that one word is a mitzvah so I can say Bruch shepatrani mi'onshu shalazeh and learn my one word and then run out to the beach. I need it. I need to relax. It's healthy and I need it. No, the purpose of telling me the shiur, the elem shiur, elud ram she'elem shiur, that one word is Torah, is in order to increase very, very, very much the love and desire for learning, by telling us, just imagine Every single word we learn is another mitzvah. That's the sheet of the Gra. Every word is another mitzvah. B'kol teva v'teva shalomat hu mitzvah b'fnei atzmo. Each one of those is a mitzvah of Talmud Torah keneged kulam. V'haraya sheyotzi b'teva achas. And the proof, how do I know that every word is a mitzvah of Talmud Torah keneged kulam? The proof is exactly the minimum shir itself. The proof is haraya sheyotzi b'teva achas. How could I say about that person that doesn't hardly have time to say Kriyat Shema? They said Shema and they said one more word to fulfill their obligation to learn Torah, and then the rest of the day they're Torah, they're occupied, they're busy, they have to do things they have to do. They have a tremendous ol on them. They can't avoid it. These things they must do. No one else can do for them. They're meshuba. They're stuck. So, from the fact that they are fulfilling their chiyuv of learning Torah with that one word, so I say the same thing applies to us. Every single word we learn is another mitzvah by itself of learning Torah. Think how precious every word of learning is. Talmud Torah keneged kulam. Every single word we learn, Talmud Torah keneged kulam, over and over again. How chaviv? How chaviv is that mitzvah? And that one word is shekula neged kol ha-mitzvot. V'aklal bazeh shein mevatlin Talmud Torah afilu lemitzvah im yochel le'asos ha'yidei acherim ha'seichel mechayev bozeh. If one single word is so valuable and so precious, it's like weighs in Talmud Torah connected all the mitzvahs in the whole Torah. So then, how could you stop learning even one single word to do a quote unquote mitzvah when really you didn't have to do it? Someone else could do it. So then what are you getting up for? You're giving up a whole sack full of diamonds for a few pennies. So all of this follows from the starting point of the Grua that there's no minimum shir. Talmud Torah keneged kulam on every single word. That means that you can't just get up and do anything. It has to be that you need it. Can't be that, well, I don't really need to do it. Someone else can do that. But why do I get up and do it? You're giving up so much. Why would you it's against the seichel. Why do you give up so much to go do something else when you could learn a word of Torah? One word. Don't give up even the space of one word. But okay. It's a mitzvah gedola, and it weighs in against all the other mitzvahs that there are. Im kain, keshe lo made lemashal daf echad. He learned one daf of Gemara. Mekayem kama meot of mitzvot. Im kain bevadai yoter tov lekayem mea mitzvot mi mitzvah achas. So why should he get up and do some other mitzvah? It's time for lunch. You got to take care of your body. Of course you give up thousands and millions of mitzvahs that for the time it takes you to eat your lunch. But when you had enough time to eat your lunch, then where's your head? And what about the 5 steps it takes to go back from where you ate to where you sit down? Were you thinking about Torah?
What about why you're eating?
No, that's a different parsha. That's in Avos, that people eating together have to have divrei Torah. It's part of elevating the
and
food.
If you're not eating,
part of saying
what if you're eating it by yourself?
It says even one person has to have Torah when they're eating. That's in Pirkei Avos. It says when you don't have Torah when you're eating, what happens? It's like eating zivchei mesim. It's no good. You can't do
When I
that.
eat by myself, I set up my laptop in front of me and I hear
And
Torah.
you hear Torah and you eat, right? You know, so you know the answer yourself, right? Yeah.
Now I
So,
remember.
okay, that's right.
Now I remember
Pat yourself on the back.
What?
You can pat
Where's your
yourself on the
head?
back.
That's right. That's it.
Pat yourself on the back.
That is
Everywhere,
every word you hear him. I agree
Pat
with
yourself
you.
on the
That's
back.
right. It's all what he taught us. It's all what he taught us. He made it alive.
Clearly.
He not only learned this with his students for all the years. Rabbi Abramson told me that this is the first article of the Birkas Shmueil that he opened up with the Rebbe. Way back, long time ago. He learned it with all of us year in and year out many times. And that's and he made it alive. That's why you read these words, you hear the Rebbe saying this to us. You know, he taught it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So now,
Okay.
so now, something that someone else can do. So don't run out and do it. You should learn better. Get your hundreds and hundreds of mitzvahs from that daf of Gemara. L'zeh shone atana. For this reason, the Tana taught how the Talmud Torah lehem shiur. That's the meaning of the Mishnah. Talmud Torah ein lo shiur lamato laharos kein tzarich lomar. Cannot, like we said above. Oh, כשצורך לאכול, שהוא גם כן מצווה, לולא זוז, לא היה לנו פנאי, לעשות איזה מצווה, או לאכול. Because if I didn't teach you that Torah has a minimum shiur, you wouldn't be able to do anything. The Torah commands us to learn Torah. It's one of the Taryag mitzvahs, and it's keneged all the mitzvahs. And the pasuk that commands us says, "Higisamon v'yivalaylo." I think that the people in the desert, the Dora Dea, complained that we don't need to take care of our clothes. Everything's automatic. Washing machines and stretch clothing, and the man comes down. We don't have to do nothing, and it makes us kind of obligated to learn Torah Yom v'Layla, and it was hard for them. Imagine to be on that madrega, to learn Torah day and night. So the Rebbe also told us that the Yemosa Mashiach, all those things are coming back. It's easier than ever to get food. It's easier than ever to do all kinds of things, You know how long it takes to wash clothes without a machine? It's a job. So the Mishnah taught us a wonderful thing, that we would have to be a malach. You could almost not be a human being. If you had to learn Torah day and night, you wouldn't be a human being. But the Mishnah tells us, no, the meaning of learn Torah day and night is every single moment of day and night is a mitzvah by itself. Every single word. Every single word. And therefore, to sum up this paragraph of the Gra, therefore, Bidul Torah is shaykh to the time after what you have to do, the Rishus areas. And the real test of a Ben Torah is in the area of Rishus, where he's not bound by all the things he has to do. What happens in Bein Hazmanim? What happens at the end of the Seder, when you can do what you want? Go back to your room, do whatever you want. What happens in these in-betweens? That is the area where you have to worry about Bidul Torah. You have to where the mashgiach is going to clap you on the head and get you there to be at the Seder. Okay, fine. So you have to be there. You're doing what you have to do. It's not worse than going to a job or eating lunch. You have to do it. So you're there. But when you have the problem of Bidul Torah, what about after the mashgiach lets you go out? Then what happens? Where's your head? Then you have to worry about Bidul Torah. So now that is why the Mishnah says Ein Lem Shiur. Lulei Zos Lo Haya Lanu Panai. Lasos eza mitzvah. You wouldn't be able to do anything because you have Yom V'Layla. Lekach mashmi'enu. Lifamim. Af tevoachas yotzei. And therefore you have to be told the key word is lifamim. Not all the time. Don't think that we're all in that box. We're not avodim. And we're not so meshubad to all these mitzvahs that we don't have time left in the day for more than one word, and there will be yotzi Talmud Torah with that one word. But that's not the box we're in. We have loads of time, and a person learning Torah has absolutely no time for anything. He's busy. His head is always in learning. That's what we're supposed to strive for. So I'm going to I wanted to quote the Gra, and I need to go back now and read what the Birkas Shmueil wants to say about the Gra. So I think maybe I have some more time. Let's go. So I'm in the paragraph of Dalet. He quoted the Gra in short form to say that the mitzvah B'dil Torah is on the after hours slot. It's not on your working hours. That's not the problem with B'dil Torah. It's the after hours. Where's your head after that? So now he says, Nira li levar divrei hashnos aliyah. This is the Birkas Shmueil. Ulaz biram lefion is daiti umiut sichli. Now, although he's saying lo is daiti and miut sichli, he has chidushim nifloim ad ma'od to add to the Gra. You think we got the Gra by learning the Gra? There's another worlds, another worlds, another worlds. We're going to see now what's really going on in the Gra.
What was that Rosh Tevet?
Loni is daiti. Lefioni is daiti, v'miut sichli. Now I'm going to say, the Birkas Shmueil is going to say his chidushim in the Gra, so we have to listen carefully. I always told you, learning the Birkas Shmueil, one of the greatest pleasures of learning his sefer is that he shows you over and over again, without fail, that even if you would be omel for weeks to understand the Rishonim, then when you see what he has to be machadish in the Rishonim, you realize you didn't even start. Now you're ready to sit down and learn it. So that's the beauty of the Birkas Shmueil. If you talk about quantity and quality, so very hard to have a picture of what the qualitative aspect of learning Torah is without working hard on his Devarim HaKadoshim. So he says like this. Lechora tzarech havana. I have a big kash on the Gra, and it doesn't make any sense to me. Ma dekomar masnisin the Talmud Torah ein lo shiurim. Ha kol rega v'rega mi'ayom hu hiu b'fnei atzmo. I think if it's going to backfire on us if you tell me that every word is a mitzvah, then every single moment of the day I can't stop because I learned a word. Gamarnu, finished. I did that mitzvah. Now what happens the next second? Well, there's another mitzvah. Learn another word. What happens the second after that? Okay, well, that's very nice. What was. You did a jillion, hundreds and thousands of mitzvahs already. So what? Each mitzvah is a beautiful mitzvah. Keneged kulam, I agree. But what about the next second? Since it's a bifnei atzmo mitzvah, so then the next second you got to do it all over again. So is there such a thing as stopping? I don't understand it. I thought the Gra was getting us off the hook. Not that what I have to do is doiche the Isur B'dil Torah, but there is the B'dil. I understand it. It sounds like if you say every word is another mitzvah by itself, it sounds like every second is another problem, B'dil Torah. You'll never be able to stop. How do you handle it? So it doesn't. The two concepts don't add up. Of each word is a mitzvah by itself, and I'm back to the drawing boards. I can't understand in any way, shape, or form how the things that I must do are not Bittul Torah. Because every word, every new moment is another opportunity to learn another word of Torah. How can I neglect it? How can I give it up? How can I give it up? Bittul Torah. How can you give it up? So now what do you do?
Where did you see that inside here?
Okay, I'll read the words
The
again.
other question is, why do we have other mitzvahs?
Tzorech Havana. And forget about other mitzvahs. You got to Talmud Torah. Can I give kulam? Daven. Do mitzvahs. Listen. Tzorech Havana. Tzorech Havana means I don't understand the word here. Something doesn't add up.
Where is it? The narrative.
Tzorech Havana. The last three words in the line, Yossi.
Okay, got it.
Tzorech Havana. Madekomar Masnisen. When the Mishnah said, the Talmud Torah, Ein Lo Shiur. I don't understand that. Because I have a big problem. I'm going to tell you my kasha. Ha. Ha. It's a Lashon kasha. Ha. Kol rega v'rega mihayom. Each single moment of the entire day, 24 hours a day, is a chiyuv b'fnei atzmo. Is a chiyuv by itself. So now, what do you mean I don't have Bittul Torah? I have constant Bittul Torah unless I keep learning. Yeah. Okay. So, I'm telling you. Okay, let's go. Because you asked me that's the kasha. That's the kasha. I should have Bittul Torah constantly. I don't have a way out. AMK. Kamo. But this is Komra Gamorum. In Maseches Shabbos Kuf Lamed Aleph, Veshavin Shim Tzietz Talis V'Aso Mitzvah Mezuzam Shehu Chayev My Tamar Yosef Lefi Shein Koval Ozman V'Amlei Abaya Adarabba Midein Koval Ozman Kol Shaita V'Shaito Zimna. I think I have to read this Gemara with you, and I printed it on the pages I gave you. I'm going to go back and read this Gemara. I printed it for you.
Is he going to tie this piece into that verse, this answer into that verse?
I didn't print it up. The answer to Rav Hirsch
No, I know. I'm
was
saying,
right in
is
the
he
first
gonna
paragraph.
Yeah, I know, but is he gonna use this to show the opposite of Rav Hirsch? And maybe they didn't have the time, but when they had the time, they'd go back to it. Their head was in learning at all times.
No, that's not what they said. They said that a person has to work, he has to learn.
No, I'm saying that Rav Hirsch would have said, because it was a temporary measure, but he could answer by shoving in, saying that they actually, the people who were in that answer, their head was in learning when they were out of work.
No. Rav Hirsch never said that, and it's also not a reality. That they were yekis with compartments. Now I'm working. Now I'm learning. I have to be a individual that knows a general knowledge of everything. I can't just be a person that knows nothing but Torah.
Even the ones in the front line?
That you don't understand the tachbula of the frontline war that he's describing. It when he says he didn't say that their understanding of learning was different than what it was. He said that the understanding they had was there was no other way to save themselves from the battle of the Haskalah. If you don't understand the forces there. If a person wasn't knowledgeable in worldly knowledge, if he wasn't polished and cultured and involved in society, he's a working man. He's finished. He's finished. His whole surrounding looks so much down on him, and he's such a non-functioning person that nobody can look at themselves like that. You can't look in the mirror. You have to run away and join them, be part of them. You can't stand it. So the tachbula of Rav Shimshon Hirsch was to be that polished, and cultured, and social individual who, on every detail, is particular to make sure he's mekayim the mitzvahs. And therefore, they create words like, for example, kavatem itim l'Torah. You have to have times when you learn Torah. Now, that's not the same thing as what the Birkas Shmueil is saying here. Not the same at all, and it can't be translated that way, and you can't like fudge them together.
So
He's saying the opposite. His answer to Rav Hirsch and to the people that followed him was that you yourselves, who follow that system, should realize that it was a measure in order to stay alive and not be destroyed by Haskalah, but not because it was two shitas of what learning Torah is.
I didn't say that.
I know you're trying to say that what they did is this. It's not true. That's not true. That's not true. The people that Rabbeinu Chaim was talking about, when Rabbeinu Chaim said that, if you send your kids to the secular high school and they learn general knowledge, the end result is going to be they won't believe in Hashem. They'll destroy their amun. And I moved from the beginning paragraphs talking about the goal of learning Torah, which is to be a goyin and a goro b'Torah. Now I'm talking about the means of how to go about it, how to learn. So the way to learn is basically, in a nutshell, is to see to it that your head is in learning and that you don't have bittul Torah. It's not quantitative. You better learn so many hours. You better become a student in a good yeshiva with the proper clothing and protect yourselves from the ills of society and be a yirat shamayim. No. Beginning and end is your head has to be in Torah. And if not, it's bittul Torah. Now you think that what they did was that, and it wasn't.
I didn't say that. That's not what I said.
What did you say? Repeat again.
What I was saying was the fact that their position, even though they were doing what Rav Hirsch said for them to do, they could have still been their head in learning. And they still could have been, when they got their polishment, they went back to learning. They wouldn't be bittul Torah.
So I'm going to answer you a little differently. This article is not written against HaGaon Rabbi Mordecai Hirsch. It's not an article against him at all. And Adarabba, his contribution in the fight against the Haskalah was successful. Without those warriors like him standing up against them, Am Yisrael would have lost the battle almost. He was our general. He led us. But so
they were
did I say that?
And they were still within what
no. That you wiggled out again. I don't want to wiggle out. Let me explain what I'm saying. There are not two systems of how to understand what is the mitzvah of Talmud Torah. One is a horat shah, and one is the din of the Torah. Now, those people, why were they fighting the Haskalah? Why didn't they just become Reformed Jews? Happily. They'll fit in society, they'll get a nice pat on the back, socially and economically and everything. They didn't do that. They fought for Torah. And Torah is only one.
This way, what he's saying.
Now, but they weren't
bittul Torah, were they?
Again, I'll repeat again. The article is not directed against Rav Shimshon for Hirsch, HaGaon Tzaddik, and the people who followed his derech. Not directed against them.
It's to clarify.
I'm not talking about that.
It's to clarify
but today we don't live in Germany in the height of the Haskalah. Today we don't live there. We live in 2019 in Yerushalayim Yira Kodesh. Are there two ways how to approach learning Torah?
No.
No. That's all I'm saying. Simple. We don't have to talk bad about them. I'm not saying a word about them. I'm only saying there are certain people, listen carefully, the key word. There are certain people who came after them, not in that time, later on, who understood from the writings of Rav Shimshon Bar HaGoyen Tzaddik Rav Shimshon Bar, they understood that there is, so to speak, two shitas of how to understand the mitzvah of Talmud Torah. One is to be, above all, Kiddush Hashem and a person that the light to the world, that everybody looks up to a Jewish person like that. Cultured, knowledgeable, intelligent, polished, and medactic on every mitzvah, kafuta sairo. Would never give up his emunah for anything. Ani maimin b'emunah shlema. Now, does that represent a certain approach to Torah? Then you have, on the other side, these Eastern European type Jews from Lithuania with their voices and the way they talk and their Yiddish and does that represent two systems of Torah? The answer is no. Okay, I'll leave it with that.